It's the middle of the night. The house is completely silent. Everyone is asleep, except for one small sound, the soft movement of paws on the floor. Your dog slowly walks through the dark room, jumps onto your bed, circles once or twice, and then settles right next to you, pressing against your leg, taking up far more space than their size should logically allow. And if you're like most dog owners, you've probably asked yourself one simple question. Why do they do this? Is it warmth? Habit? Separation anxiety? Or are they just a little too attached? Most people assume the explanation is simple, but according to behavioral neuroscience, sleep behavior between dogs and humans might be one of the most complex emotional relationships ever formed between two different species, and the real reason your dog sleeps next to you is far more fascinating than most people realize. 2. The first theory, warmth. The most common explanation is temperature. Dogs get cold, humans are warm. Problem solved. Except, that explanation falls apart very quickly. Your dog already has multiple warm places available in the house: the couch, the carpet, a sunny window during the day, pile of your clothes that somehow magically became their favorite bed. If warmth were the only goal, they would simply pick the warmest spot. But instead, night after night, they walk past every comfortable place in the house and choose you. That choice tells us something important, because sleep is the most vulnerable state any animal can experience. When an animal sleeps, its awareness drops, its reaction time slows, its defenses disappear. For thousands of years in the wild, sleeping in the wrong place meant one thing: you might not wake up. 3. The attachment study that changed everything. In the 1970s, developmental psychologist Mary Ainsworth created one of the most famous experiments in psychology. It was called the Strange Situation Test. The goal was to understand how human babies form emotional attachments with caregivers. Researchers observed how infants reacted when their mother left the room and then returned. The results defined what we now call secure attachment. Years later, scientists at Jyväskylä Loránd University had a surprising idea. What if the same test could be applied to dogs? In a landmark experiment led by canine behavior researcher Adam Miklosi, dogs were placed in a similar situation. Their owners left the room. A stranger entered. Then the owner returned. And the behavioral patterns that appeared shocked researchers. Dogs showed the same attachment patterns as human toddlers. They sought proximity to their owners. They showed distress when separated, and they relaxed immediately when the owner returned. In fact, about 60% of dogs displayed secure attachment behavior, almost identical to the percentage found in human children. In other words, to your dog, you are not just a caretaker, you are their secure base, the one place where their nervous system feels safe. And when they sleep next to you, they are performing one of the most fundamental behaviors in attachment psychology: seeking safety during vulnerability. 4. But this isn't just psychology, it's also chemistry. In 2015, researchers at Azabu University published a study in the journal Science. The researchers studied 30 dog owner pairs. They measured levels of a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It's released when mothers hold their newborn babies, when humans hug, when people fall in love. But what researchers discovered was something completely unexpected. When a dog and its owner look into each other's eyes, both experience a surge in oxytocin. At the same time, across species, the dog's oxytocin rises, the human's oxytocin rises, which strengthens the emotional bond, which causes more eye contact, which releases more oxytocin again. A self-reinforcing loop. Scientists then repeated the same experiment with wolves raised by humans, and something fascinating happened. The loop never activated. Not once. Which means this emotional feedback system did not exist in wolves. It evolved specifically between humans and dogs. Over thousands of years of living together, sleeping together, protecting each other. 5. The evolutionary backstory. To understand why dogs sleep beside humans, we have to go back 15,000 years. Long before cities, before agriculture, before writing, before civilization itself, wolves began approaching human camps. They were attracted by food scraps and the warmth of fire, but only certain wolves survived near humans. The friendlier ones, the curious ones, the ones less afraid. Over thousands of generations, those wolves slowly changed. Their behavior changed. Their bodies changed. Their genetics changed. Eventually, they were no longer wolves. They were the first dogs. Archaeologists discovered one of the most powerful pieces of evidence. In Bonober Castle, a burial site from 14,000 years ago, inside the grave were 2 humans, and beside them, 2 dogs. But the most incredible detail came from studying the bones. One of the dogs had survived canine distemper, a disease that normally kills within weeks. The dog survived long enough to heal, which means humans cared for it, fed it, protected it. For weeks. 14,000 years ago, that wasn't a working animal. That was family. 6. Sleeping together may be ancient human behavior. Modern sleep culture tells us we should sleep alone, in a quiet room, with perfect silence. But anthropologists say something different. For most of human history, people slept in groups, families, tribes, communities. Being alone at night was dangerous, which means the human nervous system evolved expecting other living beings nearby, a breathing presence, movement, warmth, safety signals. And in modern life, dogs may be filling that ancient role again. 7. The sleep study that surprised researchers. Scientists at Mayo Clinic conducted a study tracking the sleep patterns of dog owners. They monitored 40 adults and their dogs for several nights using clinical sleep trackers. Objectively, the results were clear. Dogs disrupted sleep. They moved, shifted positions, stretched at inconvenient moments. But when participants were asked how they felt, almost everyone reported something unexpected. They felt more relaxed, more secure, more comfortable, even though their sleep had technically been interrupted. Another study from Canisius College surveyed nearly 1,000 women about their sleeping arrangements. Dogs were rated as less disruptive than human partners and significantly more comforting. Why? Because the brain interprets the presence of a trusted companion as a safety signal, and safety reduces stress. 8. The nervous system synchronization effect. In 2024, researchers at University of Jyväskylä studied something called heart rate variability in dog owner pairs. Heart rate variability measures how balanced your nervous system is. High HRV equals calm and regulated. Low HRV equals stress. Researchers discovered something remarkable. The heart rhythms of dogs and their owners synchronized. When the human relaxed, the dog relaxed. When the human became stressed, the dog's body responded too. 2 different nervous systems, 2 different species, regulating each other through emotional connection. And the synchronization was strongest during rest and sleep. 9. When this behavior suddenly stops. Here's something every dog owner should know. If your dog has always slept beside you and suddenly stops, pay attention. Dogs are creatures of habit. A sudden behavioral change always has a reason. Sometimes the reason is simple. A new environment, a new pet, changes in routine. But veterinarians warn that sleep behavior changes are often one of the earliest signs of physical discomfort, pain, joint problems, or illness. In older dogs, disrupted sleep patterns may also signal canine cognitive dysfunction. Similar to dementia, studies estimate it affects up to 35% of dogs over 8 years old. Your dog cannot explain pain with words. Behavior is their language. So when habits change, they are trying to tell you something. 10. What you should actually do as an owner. If your dog sleeps with you, there are a few simple things that make it healthier for both of you. Make sure your dog has enough space to stretch comfortably. Keep a consistent bedtime routine. Provide a backup bed nearby so they can move if they want. Watch for sudden behavioral changes. And most importantly, maintain regular veterinary checkups because healthy sleep habits often reflect overall health. 11. The real meaning behind it. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. with 6 inches of mattress left and 80 pounds of dog pressed against your legs, remember what's really happening. Your dog didn't choose the couch, or the floor, or the warmest spot in the house. They chose you because thousands of years of evolution, a powerful neurochemical bonding system, and one of the deepest attachment mechanisms in nature all point to the same conclusion. Sleeping beside you is the safest place in their world. And according to science, that connection might be doing something powerful for your brain too.